My beloved, you did not find this message by accident. You were drawn here by a hand you cannot see, one that has been guiding you from the beginning. You may not feel it all the time. You may question it, even resist it. But my hand is on your life, steady and unfailing. You've been searching for direction, for answers, for signs. You've wondered if you're on the right path, or if you've somehow wandered too far to be found. But I want you to know this. Even in your most uncertain moments, I've been guiding you. Not with thunder, not always with clarity, but with a love so precise, so patient, that it has never once let you go. You've walked through shadows lately. You've asked yourself questions that you're afraid to say aloud. Am I lost? Did I miss something? Is God still with me? Let me answer with tenderness. I never left. I never stopped leading. My guidance is not limited by your clarity. My presence is not withdrawn because of your confusion. In fact, when you feel most unsure, I am often closest. I walk beside you not because you've earned it, but because you are mine. I don't guide based on your perfection. I guide based on my promise, the one I made before you even knew how to seek me. The unseen hand is not symbolic. It is real. It moves through your days like wind through leaves, invisible but unmistakable in its effect. It has stopped you when you were about to step into something that would have wounded you. It has delayed you when you were running towards something that wasn't ready. It has opened doors with quiet precision when you were too weary to even knock. You have mistaken some of these moments as coincidences or as outcomes of your own intuition. But they were not. They were my hand. And this hand has held you, not just in obvious victories, but in the unseen battles. The nights you cried in silence when no one noticed your pain. The days you showed up, even when you felt nothing. The decisions you made that looked small but cost you everything. I saw it all. I honored it all. And I've guided you through it all. You don't have to pretend it was easy. It wasn't. But I was there, and I still am. Every step you've taken has been part of a design much bigger than you understand. You've looked at others and thought they seemed more certain, more blessed, more on track. But guidance is not always about ease. Sometimes it is about endurance. And you, my beloved, have endured. You have walked through seasons without clarity and still held on to faith. You have trusted me with tears in your eyes. That kind of trust moves heaven. That kind of faith rewrites stories. And that is why I'm reminding you now. You are not lost. You're not wandering aimlessly. You are walking in alignment, even when you don't feel it. The unseen hand guiding you now is the same one that parted seas, that wrote destinies in the wilderness, that reached into brokenness and made beauty. It is not less powerful today than it was in the ancient stories. I'm not distant history. I'm present reality. I'm not a myth to be remembered, but a father to be followed. And I'm guiding you, not with rigidity, but with relationship. I don't drag you. I walk with you. I whisper, I wait. I lead. With infinite patience and unwavering love. Let your heart rest in this. You are being guided, even in the silence, even in the confusion, even when everything external says you should be afraid. I am still at work. The path ahead may not be revealed, but the next step is. That nudge you feel, that peace that overrides fear, that idea you can't shake, those are not accidents. They are my signals, woven into your awareness, drawing you closer. My hand leads not just through open doors, but through open hearts. The more you listen, the louder I become. The more you trust, the clearer the path becomes. And yes, I know it's hard sometimes. I know how much you wish for certainty, for guarantees, for a voice that shouts instead of whispers. But what I offer is something stronger. Intimacy. I don't want you to just know my will. I want you to know me. Because when you know me, you begin to recognize my ways, even when they don't make sense. You begin to trust my pace, even when it feels slow. You begin to believe that even the delays are divine, that even the no is still a gift. So here you are, at a turning point, whether you see it or not. I brought you to this message as confirmation, not of every answer, but of my presence. You've been asking, God, are you still guiding me? Let me answer with a resounding yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I always have been. Yes, I still will be. Through what makes sense and what doesn't, through what brings peace and even through what brings pain, none of it is wasted. All of it is woven. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are in process. You are being shaped. You are being led. You are exactly where I can reach you, and I will continue to reach. Through signs, through silence, through peace, through people, through the still small voice that is me within you. Because I am the unseen hand guiding you now, and I'm not going anywhere. There's a deeper truth unfolding within you, one that has less to do with direction and more to do with identity. You've asked me again and again, what should I do? But now I ask you to consider something more foundational. Who are you becoming as you trust me? My unseen hand has not only been guiding your steps, it has been shaping your soul, because you were never meant to live only by instruction. You were created to live by intimacy. To live not as someone constantly searching for commands, but as someone fully immersed in communion with me. You have been walking with more sensitivity than you realize. That restlessness that stirred when you tried to move ahead of me, that was my hand. The lack of peace that whispered when you almost said yes to something not meant for you, that was me, gently tightening my grip. The unexpected delay that frustrated you, that was the unseen hand protecting you from timing that would have exhausted your spirit. I know how much you want things to move, to resolve, to happen. But more than that, I want you whole. I want you aligned. I want you ready, not just externally, but internally. Because readiness is not measured by momentum. It is measured by maturity. I am more interested in your character than your calendar. I have not forgotten the promises I whispered in your quiet hours. I remember what you prayed in pain. And none of it will be lost. But I will never give you something that would compromise your peace or draw you away from me. That's why I am guiding you slowly. Not because I am withholding, but because I am weaving. You don't need to know everything to be moving forward. You just need to stay connected to me. And you are. Even when you question, even when you hesitate, even when you feel far, your spirit is reaching, longing, leaning in. That is enough. That is trust. That is the evidence of my work in you. You don't need to be perfect at discerning my voice. You just need to stay open to it. And you have. You've quieted distractions. You've softened your grip on outcomes. You've begun to see that following me is not a formula. It's a flow. One that moves not by performance, but by presence. This is the essence of divine guidance. A life in rhythm with me. A life that listens. A life that yields. A life that trusts the unseen over the immediate. I'm teaching you to walk by faith, not because faith is more difficult, but because it's more honest. It acknowledges that you were never meant to control your life. You were meant to co-labor with me. You were meant to listen, to respond, to adjust. That is not weakness, that is wisdom. That is the life of someone who is guided by my spirit, not driven by fear. And fear has had too much space in your decisions. It's told you that you'll miss your window, that you'll make the wrong move, that you'll disappoint me. But I am not waiting for you to prove yourself. I'm inviting you to walk with me. Not at a sprint, not in anxiety, but in step. My pace is peace. My language is love. My correction is kind. I do not shame you into obedience. I shepherd you into wholeness. You have already begun to feel the shift. You've noticed that your body tenses in environments I no longer want you to remain in. You've found it harder to ignore the nudge to step away from what once felt familiar. You've sensed new vision rising in your heart. Vision that doesn't yet have details but carries a weight you can't deny. These are signs. These are me. The unseen hand is not just redirecting your outer path. It's awakening your inner compass. I'm helping you become someone who doesn't just walk in obedience, but who walks in discernment. Discernment is not about always knowing what to do. It's about recognizing what I'm doing, and you are learning that now. To pause when my peace lifts, to press in when my presence deepens. You're beginning to notice the difference between your own ambition and my assignments. You're learning the sound of my wait and even the gift in my no. And when you don't understand, you're learning to stay close anyway. That is the maturity I've been forming in you. That is what my unseen hand has been working toward all along. There are things I've been setting in motion that depend on your continued willingness to follow my peace. People you haven't met yet. Opportunities that will not make sense until you are living from this place of stillness. You do not need to strive for them. They are already appointed. Your only task is to remain aligned, to keep choosing connection over clarity, trust over timeline, surrender over strategy. This is not passivity, this is power. The power of a life anchored in me. The power of a soul that moves at the speed of my spirit. And when you live this way, you will find that doors begin to open not because you force them, but because they were always meant for you. You will walk into rooms you didn't plan for, carrying peace others didn't expect. You will move through transitions not with panic, but with presence. Because my hand will still be guiding and you will know it. So release the pressure to get everything right. I never placed that burden on you. I placed my spirit within you. That is your guide. That is your source. That is your strength. Let it rise. Let it lead. Let it remind you again and again. You are being guided even now. I see you. Not just the version of you that others applaud, but the one who wrestles with the hidden weight of decisions no one else knows you're making. The quiet anxiety of, what if I choose wrong? The fatigue of always trying to interpret signs, hoping for a clear yes or no, while navigating the gray in between. This is where my unseen hand becomes most vital, not in the dramatic moments of choice, but in the quiet spaces where your heart aches for assurance. And I am here. I have always been here, not to overwhelm you with options, but to ground you in trust. You've asked for clarity, and I hear that. But more than clarity, I'm offering you confidence in me. Not just confidence in outcomes or open doors, but a deep, settled knowing that even if you take a step in uncertainty, my hand is big enough to redirect you. I do not guide like a fragile GPS that fails the moment you deviate. I guide like a father who walks beside you, gentle, patient, invested in every step you take, and committed to getting you where you need to go. You will not be lost when you walk with me. Even your detours are part of the map I see. Sometimes you confuse my guidance with your feelings. You wait for comfort to confirm your direction. But beloved, peace and ease are not always the same. I never said that every path I lead you on would feel easy. But I did promise my presence. There is peace that lives beneath discomfort, the kind that strengthens you to take hard steps with grace. That's the peace I offer, the kind that lets you stand firm even when the ground beneath you shifts, the kind that teaches you that risk is not the enemy when you're moving with me. You've wanted me to make it obvious, to write it in the sky, to speak it through a dream, to remove every other option so that one path remains. But that is not always how I guide. Sometimes I grow you by letting you choose. Not because I don't care what you pick, but because I care deeply about who you become as you make that choice. My unseen hand shapes not only outcomes, but identity. And I am shaping you into someone bold in love, rooted in peace, and wise in heart. You've been afraid of making mistakes. But what if I told you that mistakes don't derail my plans? That I can use even your missteps to deepen your wisdom and multiply your impact? That I'm never caught off guard by what you do, because I'm already waiting in your future with mercy. Stop giving fear the authority to freeze you. Fear is not your guide. I am. And I guide not by coercion, but by connection. Let's talk about your intuition. That inner sense you've sometimes ignored or dismissed. It's not separate from me. I speak through that too. I crafted your spirit to resonate with my spirit. That knowing you feel, the one that keeps returning even when you try to shake it. That's me, drawing you in. I don't just lead through signs and wonders. I lead through the rhythm of your own heartbeat, the longings you can't explain, the timing that surprises you with its precision. Trust that I know how to get your attention when it matters. There are paths I'm opening to you that require more than information. They require alignment. That's why I'm guiding your character even as I prepare your circumstances. What I'm calling you into cannot be sustained by charisma or convenience. It must be carried by maturity. So if it feels like I'm stretching you, if it feels like I'm withholding clarity, it's only because I'm expanding your capacity, not to impress anyone, but to reflect me. This is a holy recalibration, a slow, sacred turning of your heart from control to surrender, from strategy to sensitivity, from checklist to communion. I'm not just changing how you move, I'm changing how you listen. I'm teaching you to hear, not only with your ears, but with your spirit, to move not because of pressure, but because of peace. And when you live this way, you begin to see guidance not as a moment, but as a way of being. And oh, how different life becomes when you walk like this. You no longer panic at every fork in the road. You no longer beg for a sign at every decision. You start to trust that if you are walking with me, then wherever you go, you're already within my will. You begin to believe that you can't outrun my grace, that you are not a problem to be solved. You are a story I am writing, one line at a time, with care. So pause, breathe. Stop demanding that every next step be fully explained. You're not being ignored, you're being invited into partnership, into trust, into peace that transcends what you can plan. You're being led, even now, especially now. The unseen hand is not a metaphor. It is me, holding your present, preparing your future, healing your past. Let yourself be guided, not because the road is easy, but because I am trustworthy. Not because the destination is guaranteed, but because I am good. You don't need every answer to keep walking. You only need to know that I am with you, and I am. Let me remind you of something your heart has known, but your mind has doubted. I am more invested in your life than you are. My unseen hand is not passive or disinterested. It is intentional, active, present. You're not being nudged through life by vague energies or indifferent fate. You're being led by a Father who knows the number of hairs on your head and every hidden corner of your soul. I don't just see the road ahead. I see your pace, your fatigue, your hope, your confusion, and I adjust my guidance accordingly. I do not rush you into revelation. I walk you into rest. That is what I want for you now. Not just movement, but rest in the movement. You've been taught that guidance must feel like urgency, that divine momentum must come with pressure. But the way I lead does not fracture your peace. Yes, I will call you into action. Yes, I will prompt you to move. But when I do, it will not feel like striving. It will feel like freedom, like alignment, like exhale. My pace will always match my peace. If you feel forced, frantic, frayed, pause. That is not me. I do not push my children into panic. I lead them into peace. You've spent so long trying to calculate the right path that you've forgotten how to enjoy the path you're on. And I understand. The world praises productivity. It rewards those who can explain every step and justify every choice. But I am not bound by their systems. I don't grade your journey based on how quickly you arrive or how impressive your path looks to others. I measure by surrender, by softness, by how open you remain to me when the way ahead feels hidden. You see, I guide you not just through big moments, but through thousands of small, unseen turns. The thought that comes while you're washing dishes, the sudden idea while driving, the way you're drawn to a particular verse, song, or conversation. These are not coincidences. They are cues, evidence of my companionship in the quiet. The world waits for lightning bolts. I speak in whispers. But if you listen, you'll realize I've been speaking all along. Do you remember the times you almost settled, almost compromised, almost walked into something that seemed good but didn't carry peace? Those moments, they matter, not because they made headlines, but because they revealed your heart. You followed the nudge to pause, to ask again, to wait. That was guidance. That was victory. You may not have seen fireworks, but heaven rejoiced. You trusted me when it didn't feel convenient. And that kind of trust shapes your life in ways far beyond what you can measure. And I'm still guiding, still redirecting when needed, still affirming the steps you hesitate to take. There are times when you move without knowing the full picture. That's not recklessness. That's faith. You're learning to walk by the pull of my spirit, not the applause of others. You're beginning to crave alignment more than approval. And because of that, I can take you deeper. Deeper doesn't mean louder, it means quieter, more rooted, more secure. That's what my guidance produces. Not anxiety masked as progress, but peace that produces fruit. And the fruit is beginning to show. You're more discerning now. More aware of when your soul is stretching too thin. You're noticing when a yes would cost your integrity, when a no would protect your peace. That sensitivity is sacred. It is proof that my hand is not only leading you outward, but inward, into self-awareness, into wholeness, into wisdom. Some of what I'm doing in your life now doesn't look like guidance at all. It looks like delay, like repetition, like stillness. But these are not signs of failure. They are the fertile soil of clarity. I'm not a god of chaos. I do not waste seasons. If it feels like nothing is happening, trust that everything is being aligned. Foundations don't make headlines, but they hold the weight of what's to come. That's what I'm building in you now. A foundation strong enough to carry your calling. You don't need to rush. The moments I've ordained for you will not pass you by. You do not need to compete or compare or contort yourself to fit someone else's journey. You are not late. You are being prepared. And my preparation never fails to meet my purpose. So take a deep breath. Let yourself receive this truth again. You are not behind. You are not missing it. You are not failing. You are being led faithfully, patiently, perfectly. The way I guide is not like the world's systems. It is personal. It is constant. And it is anchored in love. Let me lead you not just into next steps, but into new thinking. Let me strip away the pressure to prove and replace it with the joy of being present. You don't have to understand everything right now. You just need to stay close. I promise I will keep guiding. I will keep speaking. I will keep walking with you. through every turn, every still moment, every sacred yes, and every surrendered no. My unseen hand is not just on your path, it is on your heart. Let's talk about the times when you feel like nothing is happening, when your prayers echo back in silence, and the path ahead feels more fog than light. These are not the moments I have forgotten you. These are the moments I am forming you. In the stillness, my hand is not absent. It is unseen, yes, but never inactive. You've mistaken delay for distance, but that's not the truth. I am nearer than ever. I am in the pause. I am in the process. I am preparing what you've asked for, and preparing you to hold it with grace, not strain. You see, I do not only lead you into open doors, I lead you into alignment. I will not usher you into places where your heart cannot remain whole. So if it seems like I'm holding you back, trust, it is not punishment. It is preservation. You asked me to bless you. You asked me to use you. And I will. But I will not build something with your hands that will break your spirit. My unseen hand doesn't just guide steps, it guards souls. There's a temptation to believe that when you cannot feel progress, you're failing. That when clarity doesn't come, you've missed something. But beloved, that is not how I see you. I don't measure you by momentum. I measure by trust. Are you still showing up? Still listening? Still willing to believe I'm working even when the evidence is scarce? That is faith. And faith pleases me more than flawless execution ever could. Let me show you a secret. The quiet seasons are where deep roots grow. It is where you become unshakable. Not because everything is clear, but because you have learned to stay close in the unclear. You've chosen to worship in waiting, to listen in silence, to keep your heart soft when the world tells you to shut it down. That is not small. That is powerful. That is why you are ready for more than you think. You may not have realized it, but I've been teaching you how to hear me without needing the noise. I've been weaning you off dependency on signs and urgency